Hello and welcome to the Paid Search Podcast. I am your host, Chris Schaefer, and as always, with me is Jason Rothman, but today he is golfing. He's golfing, so he can't be here. So today I'm going to be your guide to answering your questions about PPC. We very often do questions from the audience, but today I'm gonna discuss something that is a very common misunderstanding about Google Ads and how Google Ads works. Where does your money go in Google Ads? How do you spend money? When you see money being spent, how did those people interact with your ads? How did those people click on the ad? There's a lot of detailed information directly in Google Ads that can provide that information for you. And I want to talk about it. I want to enlighten you on how that whole thing works. I think you're going to learn a lot today. So I appreciate you guys jumping in with me on a one-man show yet again of the Paid Search Podcast. Could be a regular thing for a while. I hope you guys enjoy this format. So before I start, I have to tell you about my favorite online software, Opteo. So this is opteo.com/PSP. I have been doing Google Ads for 20 years now, and I can't keep up with all the things that I need to know and be aware of in Google Ads. It can be really complicated. The software from Opteo.com is designed for people like me who are longtime experts in the industry, and also people maybe like you who are still learning, new to Google Ads. All of us need a system to manage and help us crank through our tasks in Google Ads, and this is the smarter way to manage Google Ads. It is a wonderful software that you attach to your Google Ads accounts. Whether you have one or 150, you can attach this to your Google Ads accounts, and it helps you itemize priority items that need to be addressed, from budget allocation to conversion optimization to bids to keywords, negative keywords, all that kind of stuff. It will help you realize where you're missing out. So if you don't know about this wonderful software, you've got to check it out. It's a special offer directly from Opteo. For listening to this show, they're offering you a double free trial. Typically, you get 30 days. If you go to opteo.com/PSP, link is in the description, you can get a 60-day free trial. That's exclusively from the Paid Search Podcast. We really appreciate them being a part of the show, as they have for quite a few years now. Wonderful sponsor. They help keep me going, and Jason as well. Let's talk now about where your traffic goes. So what happens when something is clicked in Google Ads? What happens to your money? How does your budget work in Google Ads? Everybody knows that when you run a text ad on Google, there's a lot of different things, right? There is the main headline on Google. Sometimes there can be some site links that show underneath. Sometimes there can be a call to action at the bottom for people to be able to call directly from the ad. They can click on that and call the company directly. There can be some driving directions if it's a local ad. There's so many things, and I think it's going to be important for us to slow down and talk about all the ways that people can interact with a Google ad, because it is not just as simple as getting a click. That is not necessarily a good explanation of where your money went when you're advertising on Google. The reality is that you spend money in different ways. Not all clicks are the same. And each click can be on many of these different aspects of Google Ads. And if you don't know that, and you don't know where to see this information, I tell you what, you're in for a treat. I'm going to explain it all right here. So there are types of interactions on a Google Ads search ad. Okay, if you don't know how to manage and sort that data and get interaction data and where those clicks came from, let me briefly explain in an audible way. It is a podcast here, so I have to do it audibly. Go to your campaign that you're interested in. Okay, pull up your campaign, and you want to view maybe an ad group, possibly some keywords. It can be a campaign view, the ad group view. It can be any of the views that you're interested in. Look for a segment button. Okay, so there will be a segment button on your screen. It'll be right above the rows of data. You know, it'll say clicks, impressions, things like that. There'll be a segment button. Okay, typically right next to the columns button or the search button on your Google Ads interface. Once you click that segment button, look for something that says click type. Okay, so click type is a way to segment your data so that you can see some very important information that maybe you had no idea was even out there for you. This is critical information for any advertiser, whether you're a local advertiser or a national advertiser, whether you're e-commerce or lead generation. What did people click on? And you might actually find some really interesting data that you'd never seen before. This could be something revolutionary to realize that, wow, there's a lot of traffic going to this or that. You know, is that good? Is that bad? Do I want that? Well, I can't answer those questions for you. But what I can answer is, you know, what does it mean? What do each of those interaction types mean? And maybe we can discuss why it could be a good or bad thing for you to be spending money on that. So let's go through it. Let's start off with some of the more basic aspects of the interaction, probably the most common. That's going to be on a headline click. Okay, so what is a headline click? Headlines are the main URL that shows that you enter into Google. Whenever you build an ad, you choose a final URL. That final URL is then embedded into those headlines that Google shows on your search campaign. Okay, so this is where most of the traffic is going to go. It's the big blue letters that show right below the URL of your main domain. Okay, so when people click this, it's going to go straight to the final URL that you inputted. Okay, so if you are selling, if you're selling car insurance, it's going to say, you know, get a quote today for your, for your car, for your truck, whatever. And then someone can click that. That's the call to action. They click on that, and then boom, it takes them straight to your website, your landing page, whatever it is you're doing. Okay, so a headline click, pretty straightforward. That's the most vanilla type of click. That's probably the most expected way for people to interact with your ads. Really no red flags here. Nothing to really worry about. I mean, this is where you would expect maybe 80% of you think, well, that's where all my money's going to. Why are you talking about this in the first place? Yes, that might be true, but you might be surprised in the other ways that Google could be spending money, and you might want to itemize some of that spend. So now that we've covered headline clicks, okay, that's the main expected way. Let's talk about all the other ways that you can have money being spent on a search ad, okay? The next, I would say, most common type of click that might happen is a call extension. This is where the Google Ads system will take a phone number that you enter. You enter this phone number into the Google Ads system, and it simply looks at that, verifies that that's the same phone number on your website, and puts that usually below the ad. Okay, so it might say, again, you're doing car insurance. It might say, click here to. You can't say click here, but it says, get a quote now for your car. Get a car insurance quote now. Representative standing by, something like that. And it might have a link in your headline. Below your description, below that headline, it might have a phone number. This phone number may or may not be your actual phone number. It might be a tracked phone number. We're not going to get into all of that. But when someone clicks on that phone number, you are then charged the same rate that you would have been charged had they clicked on your ad headline. There is no higher charge. The fees are the same. It's the same CPC rate as though it was a click on a headline. So whether they call you or they click on the headline, that is the same click. It's treated the same. There's no upcharge for that, nothing like that. Okay, so let's say that happens on a mobile device. They can simply click on a mobile device, a pop-up, a confirmation pops up on the screen, says call this number, confirm yes or no. They click yes, and then it connects you to that phone number, and you, the advertiser, would receive a phone call. Very straightforward. This is great. If you are running a campaign that is important that you connect and have a phone call, if you're doing lead generation, you provide service of some kind, phone calls can be incredibly important. If you run an e-commerce and you have a phone number and you don't really answer the phone, be aware. Those phones could be ringing and you're paying for that traffic, and it's a complete waste. It makes, it could be a complete loss of value for you to be spending money on a phone number. Okay, so again, as I described at the top of the show, use that segmentation. Look at where the traffic's going. Maybe that's something that's happening to you. If you're not prepared to answer the phones at 2 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, you could be running ads and getting clicks on that phone number during off hours. There are ways to limit that. I'm not going to go into that, but be aware. That is one of the second most common methods of a click type, where you can see that information and derive, is this important for me? Do I want that? Now, the next most common, I would say, is the site links that show underneath the ad. Now, don't take what I say too seriously as far as the order of these things. Sometimes the call extension could be higher. Sometimes it could be lower. I mean, the order is very dynamic. All ads kind of look different devices, different layouts. So don't worry about the order, but mainly the click type, the next click type we're talking about is site links. Now, these site links, again, have to be added to your account. So if they're added to your account, who did this? What are they for? Why do I even want site links? Well, first of all, the reason you would want site links is because it helps to grow the real estate of the size of your ad. So if you just have one headline and a couple descriptions, that's going to be a very small, not a very discreet ad. It'll say sponsored at the top. It'll have a couple lines, and then that's it. If you add site links, now you could have something that is 4 different call to actions. It could say, sign up here, get pricing information, book a call with us. I mean, there could be a lot of different ways that you can have a different call to action. This can be incredibly powerful if perhaps there's different levels of qualification that someone could be. Someone that's doing price shopping may not really need to land on your services page or your product page. They're interested in bulk orders, and you might have a wholesale get wholesale pricing information, or submit wholesale verification information here. You can have all kinds of forms based on the qualification of that click. These different call to actions can be incredibly powerful to drive more valuable people to your site, and they may not click on that headline. When they click on these site links, it's the same CPC, the same cost per click, the same everything that you've seen for everything else. So there's no difference in the call extension price. There's no difference in the site link. There's nothing that's upcharged here. Okay, so a click is a click is a click. So if you consider that, you'd realize that maybe it's really important that you get these right. Maybe it's really important that you don't just show ads with site links that are learn about us or, meet our staff. I mean, it could be a complete waste. So it can do a lot of good for you to drive different call to actions below your ad headline. But, oh my goodness, think about the wasted clicks if, let's say you have some pretty poor keywords. You have some bad keywords. You're driving some traffic, that, let's say you run that car insurance company again. Let's say you're running traffic of people, you're getting clicks from people that are, searching how to start a car insurance company. And they're seeing site links about, something about a webinar or, a live event or something. And they're interpreting that as though you're offering training, a webinar. Maybe they click that link. Maybe you get an extremely high click-through rate and you think you're just winning the day. You're doing amazing. Why am I not getting any conversions? I'm getting a great click-through rate. If you go and check that click type, you might now realize, oh boy, there's 30% of my traffic going to a specific site link. This could be absolutely detrimental. This could be a huge waste. Could be, a big issue for you. So these site links can be customized. You choose the title, you choose the description, you choose the URL for each one of them. You can add 1 or 4 or 15. Google's only going to show a max of 4, but it rotates and decides which one. So if you want full control, you would only put 4 and not let Google decide of those 4 which one's going to choose. So, pick your best 4 and maybe stop there, or add a whole bunch and let the algorithm decide for you. These site link extensions can sometimes be an absolute lift to your campaign, and it can be full destruction if you don't pay attention to where these clicks are going. So that's another way that you could be spending money, getting clicks on your Google ads, and not realize where your money is going. Very important. So let's talk about now. Let's get off the top 10 list and let's kind of just go with some abstract ideas on where your traffic can go. So number 1, this is something that's rather new that could be interesting. Image extensions. Did you know that you can add images? Okay, maybe you knew that. If you didn't, you just found something new. So go check that out. Adding an image to a search ad is a great way to make visibility just skyrocket. It can be a great image, a great asset to add that. Did you know that people can actually click the image? Oh, you didn't know that? Okay, well, they can. They can actually click the image. And did you know that Google actually tracks how many impressions that image is showing and how many times people actually click on the image extension? Again, this is something that you can see in the segmentation of the click type. Does this matter? No, it does not matter. It still sends them to the final URL that is in your ad that you created. It doesn't send. You don't get to choose a image extension final URL. So there's no separate URL for this. You only just add an image, and if they click on it, it goes to your main ad web page that you put in. So why Why do you care? Well, it could be interesting if you tested a couple different images. Let's say that you are doing car insurance. Maybe you have an image that shows, a wrecked car on one, and then another one that shows, a smiling person shaking hands. Maybe the wrecked car invokes a better response, and you notice that people, whenever you get impressions on that, people are clicking on the image a little more often. That could signal that people are noticing that, and that's the name of the game in Google Ads. You want your ad to be noticed. So if you see these image extension clicks, maybe there's something to be learned there. Maybe you can note how many times the click-through rate might go up when the image extension is shown for certain ads. Could be a lot of information there that you did not know. So that's a bit of an obscure way of getting a click. Doesn't really hurt your campaign, but you may not realize how much image extension clicks are actually coming through. Could be really interesting. Let's talk about another thing that I'll tell you what could be a massive leak in your campaign. We're talking about driving directions. So this is for those of you that have a business listing. Okay, you're running a business listing on Google. You have a local business, and you're running a local campaign. So let's say Joe does a search. He is about 10 miles, 5 miles from your location. He searches something that triggers an ad, triggers a keyword in your campaign, and lo and behold, Google sees that. They see that they're local. They see that it's a local search, a local service. Boom, they add a connection between your Google business connection and your Google Ads. And it takes the address that's in your Google business location and adds that as a extension on your ads. That can come in the form of driving directions. Get driving directions. So someone can actually click and from their location see how to get to your facility. Could be really valuable if you're a restaurant, if you're a local retail store, could be amazing. I'll tell you what, it might be absolutely destructive if there's a whole lot of get directions and you're a plumber. You're a home service provider who absolutely has no interest in people clicking get directions from homeowners. I mean, they're not going to come to your store or your office and contact you. That's not the way it works. That you need them to call. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you do. Maybe it's useful for them to go to your Google business because you have a great rating. When they open that up, they can see some of the information, the images that you're providing. Maybe something you want. But again, it's always better to know than it is to not know. And that's why we're talking about this today. It could be really interesting for you to see those driving directions, get location details. Those two things could be driving a lot of your spend, a lot of your clicks. Maybe you had no idea. All right, let's change the tone a little bit. Let's talk about something that I've seen more damage than I have seen help with this. So this is something that can be absolutely a red flag, and you may not have any idea. Let's talk about ways that you can spend money that may not be coming from Google Ads. It might be coming from, it's still coming from Google Ads, but it's coming from not google.com, but it's coming from what's called the search partners. Now, this is a different type of segmentation report that you can do. You go to your segment button and look for the button that says Network with Search Partners. When you click this, it shows you google.com traffic and it shows you the search partner network. This is important because I have had clients that, unbeknownst to them, have been spending 60, 70, 80% of their budget on the search partners. And inevitably what happens, they start to have quality issues. Now, search partners can be an amazing asset. It can really help to add additional volume, but I'll tell you, sometimes when the volume comes in excess of the search partners, there can be some major quality issues because these search partners are not Google.com. There are other third-party search engines out there that are running Google ads on their site. So sometimes the quality of those clicks, those leads, can be variable, okay? So again, this could be a major red flag. If you're seeing high percentage of search partners and you're having any issues with quality of traffic, quality of leads, some weird phone calls from outside your geographic area that you're targeting, check this. This type of click could be spending a tremendous amount of money for you and not contributing any value that you would want. It could be a really big deal. So pay close attention to your search partners. You can decide to turn that off, leave it on, but again, the name of the game here is knowing, understanding, having the data. And if you have the data, you can make the decisions. Okay. And I want to be clear. I may not have said this off the top of the show here, but we're talking about Google search campaigns. There are no search partners for display. You cannot see search partners with Performance Max. You cannot see search partners, for other types of campaigns. So I want to be clear. We're talking about Google search here. Okay, search partners are part of the Google search network. Okay, so search partners can be a massive deal. You can be spending a ton of money. Be very aware of that. Let's talk about another network that I have seen people spending tremendous amount of money on and have absolutely no idea, where that money is being spent. On that same segmentation that I referred to previously, it is the hit the segment button and go to network with search partners. That will also provide you with information about the display network. So if anyone's keeping score here, there is Google.com, there is search partners, and there is the display network. Now, the display network are not search. This is not search. No one was searching on any search engine anywhere, not Google, not other search engines. No one was really looking for anything on a search engine. What they were doing is they were checking the weather, using an app, reading a news article, looking at a blog, anything. Just as we used to call, back in my day, they were surfing the web back in the 90s. Kind of miss the 90s. Things seem simpler. Either I was younger or it was simpler. I can't believe that it was entirely age that makes me nostalgic for the 90s. But anyway, the red flag that you're looking for here is high volume, because if you're running on the display network and you're spending a large amount of volume, maybe it's more than 50%, maybe it's more than 30%, I don't know. Depends on how much risk you want to take here, but be aware that this is not search. No one's searching on this. This is the display network. And when someone searches on when someone clicks on an ad from the display network, what happens is they were on another website somewhere on the internet, an app, checking the weather, whatever. And your text ad showed up on that website. Now, we've all been on websites where there's, just a wall of ads, and sometimes you can accidentally click on those. You don't mean to, so there might be some accidental clicks, and there's definitely some very purposeful clicks where it can be absolute great ad for someone to have clicked on. This could be great. So this could be very important. But what starts to concern me is high volume without any conversions. If you see a high volume without conversion, any conversions coming through, I mean, there's no way to really know the mindset of those people that clicked on the ad. They may have been checking the weather and they just randomly clicked on the ad and they're like, oh, I was thinking about getting another car insurance quote, but never mind. I don't want to give them my email, phone number. I don't want to do that. Never mind. Forget it. So these people were not in the mindset of taking that action. Maybe they're a little less qualified. I mean, there could be a lot of red flags here. And sometimes they could be absolutely qualified. You have to make the decision for your business, how connected, how deep do people need to be in this mindset for you to spend money. And maybe it's not worth spending money unless they are ready to fill out a form. Maybe your form is very long. You can't just take any kind of traffic. It needs to be bottom of funnel, highly, and maybe on a computer, not even a mobile phone. Meanwhile, there might be other advertisers that are like, listen, I just want traffic. This is a high, very high funnel, light touch kind of drip campaign kind of thing. I just need people coming to the site. I'll hook 5% of them, and that's what I'm looking for. It's high volume kind of thing. So there could be a lot of reasons why you might use the display network. But as I said before, this is about the knowledge, understanding, how much you're spending there. That could be very important. All right, I've got 4 more here that I want to go through that I think are very important. You need to understand. But before I do that, I want to remind you about Optio. Optio.com/PSP. When you're in need of help in Google Ads, who do you call? Optio.com. I feel like they should let me write a jingle or something. It could really, pull out my guitar, have a little jingle here. I mean, it's such a great software. I feel like I could write a song about it. I mean, I use this software. I can't. I'm not kidding. I get emails. I had a gentleman reach out to me the other day and say, "Hey, Chris, I listen to your podcast. Great podcast. I really appreciate it." And of course, I use Optio. I hear that all the time from people saying like, "Of course." I mean, it's an obvious. They don't even ask like, "Should I?" They just know. Yeah, I use it because once you try it, once you see how it works, it's like, well, duh. It's just another tool in your tool belt that will lift the integrity of your campaigns, whether it's your business or you're managing other people's accounts. It's the tool to use. Wonderful tool. Optio.com/PSP. All right. So what we're going to do is talk about 4 other types of things that I think are really important to understand. Okay. So we're going to break into a part of the Google Ads layout that you may not have seen before, okay? So you have your site links, you have your headlines, you have your call extension. There are other assets that can be added to this whole matrix of what your Google Ads ad looks like on Google.com. One of them can be price. You can have a price asset. Now, this is cool because this is kind of a poor man's shopping extension. Basically, if you're doing an e-commerce, you could list your 4 top products, and have like a price in there, a special link, and then like a little note about highest PSI. This is if you're looking for high PSI for this kind of product, it's here. If you want the most affordable, best quality, this one's here. You can put these individual price points for all your products in there. If you're running a lead generation campaign, you could say, hey, if you're looking for a new AC, we do new AC installs. They start at this price, and you could have a special URL just for AC installation services. You have a repair service that kind of starts at this price. You could have a page, that lists that. This is a very diverse kind of asset that could just be incredibly useful. It really, if you can get these to show, you have to show higher in the search results. You can't be showing these if you're down at the bottom and stuff like that. You're going to have to be serious about bidding to be able to get these to show. But these price assets are something that can get a lot of clicks. They certainly can get some eyeballs because they're very different than anything else that you see. They don't look like site links. They're very graphical, and they can be scrolled through. They're very, very eye-catching. Again, these are the same CPC as someone who clicks on the headline, someone who clicks on a phone number, someone who clicks on a site link, get driving directions, get location details, all these kind of things. They cost the same. And whenever someone clicks on this price, they're taken to a special URL. This is not the same URL that happens from the main headline. Pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of configuration you can do here. So that's the price asset. Another asset that you can possibly try is lead form asset. Now, someone can actually click on this lead form asset, and you're going to pay the same thing, right? No markup on this. There's no difference in price. But what you can do is you can actually have them fill out this lead form, and it skips your entire website. They don't call you, but this lead form goes directly to the Google Ads database. And if you have a API set up with some other third-party software, it'll directly import that as a new lead into your system. Otherwise, you have to go in and manually download the information. So it depends on how you're using it, but I don't want to get into the details of that. The main thing is this is another way that you can spend money on Google Ads, not realize it. And if you have a lead form set up in your Google Ads and you are not verifying that lead form data is being checked and responded to very quickly, talk about a leak in your pocket. I mean, this could be massive. I mean, these are live, legit leads coming directly from Google Ads that you are not taking advantage of. So this could be huge. I don't sit on this one. For a lot of people, the lead asset is not really very useful. But if you are using it, make sure you're using it and you're aware that you're using it and that you're checking on it. So this is yet another way that you can spend money on Google Ads, another click that can come apart from the click on the headline. All right. And to round it up, let's talk about another very confusing aspect. So I saved one of the most misunderstood aspects in Google Ads for last, because for those of you that are sticking around, you're the real troopers. You really want to know the details. You want to get the nitty gritty on stuff, and that's my middle name, Chris Nitty Gritty Schaefer. I like details, and this little detail is all about call ads. When you set up a call ad and you publish it, it goes live, it's running, you're getting clicks on it, you're getting phone calls, and you see 15 clicks, and you think, great, I've gotten 15 phone calls. I'll tell you what, depending on how you set up that call ad, you may have gotten 0 phone calls and 15 clicks on an ad that went to your website. You say, well, Chris, what are you talking about? I set up a call ad. They can call me. That's what they do. Well, sorry, man, that is not necessarily the way that it always works. When you set up a call ad, you have the option to add a final URL. Now, you'd have a non-optional verification URL that you must put in that verifies that phone number is actually linked to your domain, that you're not creating some weird phone number that is sending people off to something. That that's a different thing. The verification URL is there to make sure that, that is your phone number. You're actually putting it out live on the internet, and you're not, putting the wrong phone number in or something like that. This final URL allows for a call ad to show two things. It can show a phone number for someone to call, or underneath that phone number, they can have a link to go to the website. This can be extremely destructive if, you're like, my website's horrible. I don't have the money to put into a new website. I haven't updated it, but I'll tell you what, I really need some calls. Let's say you're a lead generation company, and you're like, we'll focus entirely on phone calls. If you put that final URL in there, they're going to your crappy website. You are spending money on people to go to your website. That can be a major hole in your pocket there. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't realize that you can leave that final URL blank and just get a phone call. That's the only option. It just shows a phone number. Click here to call. That's the only option. This could be a major issue if you're not careful about your call ads. So this is something that, again, you would see if you segment the data in your Google Ads account. You would be able to see that information and be able to determine, that that's happening to me. I'm getting clicks on website, a headline of a call ad, and it's, not all of these clicks are coming through on a phone number. So that's it. That is the different types of interactions that you can be spending money on Google Ads. I'll tell you what, it can be extremely enlightening for people to see this information and realize, oh man, I've been putting, a certain amount of money here. Just think about it. You're putting 20% into display, 20% into search partners, another 5%, 10% into site links. A few of the clicks are going to, like a call extension that you're like, nobody ever calls this. I don't ever get calls. Okay, so what's happening there? Maybe you don't need to be running that. Chipping away at the effectiveness of a Google Ads campaign because you're letting it kind of leak through these loose stones of your PPC wall. It can be very destructive. That's what Google Ads management and optimization is all about: finding those leaks and addressing them. And the first thing you have to do to accomplish that is find the leaks, figure out where the hole is. So I hope this is useful for you. It's just me. Honestly, this is my second time now doing the show, and the one thing I miss, I guess I miss Jason. The second thing I miss is just, chatting and sharing. So here at the end, I'll just tell you guys, I appreciate you guys listening. It's really great. I have seen a massive number of questions coming in from around the world and the U.S. It's great. You guys are really responding. I appreciate your questions. We'll probably have a Q&A show here pretty soon. But I appreciate all the feedback that we get. It's been great. Show's been going on for a long time, and I just want you to know we're still here. I know there's been some changes, but hey, I'm still here. Jason's going to be with us on the next episode. He's been working on, just hitting the putt just right. And for those of you that have been around, whenever Jason misses a putt, he breaks every club. It's just embarrassing. So, it takes him a while to get it right because every time he misses it, he just throws a fit, throws his club across the green, and It's just sad. So, we'll keep waiting for him to get it right. I think he'll get it right by next week. He should be around for the next episode. But I appreciate you guys being here for this one. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you'd like to speak to me, I'm happy to provide deeper consulting services for those of you that are interested. I have a consulting service where you can spend a 1-hour session with me live over Zoom and pretty much answer anything in Google Ads. I've been doing Google Ads for 20 years now. I've done probably about 1,000 of these sessions over the long time I've been doing this. Probably won't meet another more qualified long-term Google Ads manager that will provide one-on-one consulting training like this. I mean, you heard it here. It's on the internet, so you know that's true. You can find me at chrisschaefer.com. I also offer management, but happy to chat. Reach out to me there. I thank you guys for listening to the podcast, being here all these years. I'll catch you next time.